This is Becky Scholda, and today is Monday, July 20th, 2009. I am interviewing for the first time Mr. Aubra Graves. This interview is taking place in the home of Mr. Graves at 257 Chapman Road in Hewitt, Texas. This interview is sponsored by the Baylor University Institute for Oral History and is a part of the Waco-McLennan County History Project, specifically the project Dance All Night, Waco Dance Venues 1946 through 1966. Mr. Graves, I really appreciate you allowing me to come to your home today and interview you.
No
And
problem.
I'd like to start out with some information about you. I want to know where you were born, who your parents were, all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I was born in Hillsboro, Texas. That's up the road about 35
sure.
miles.
I know Hillsboro.
Back in 1924.
Okay.
And I grew up there, went to high school, went to some junior college. And I went in the service in December of 1942.
Okay. Stop just a moment and tell me what your parents' names were.
My was Mr. and Mrs. A.J. Graves.
A.J. Graves, and what did A.J. stand for?
The same as mine, Aubra Joseph.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. All right.
My dad had a barber shop in Hillsboro.
Oh, uh-huh. Where was that located?
Right on Wake, right in the middle of town.
On the square?
No, right across the street from the theater, Palace, the Texas Theater. This
Oh,
picture
okay.
show.
So it would have been just off of the square.
Yeah, just off the square.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. And your mother's name was?
Was Flossie Graves. She was a Goldman. Her name was Goldman before she married.
Would that be Goldman?
I think it's Gouldman.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
Her grandpa, my great great grandpa, was Mr. Smith of Smith Bend, right over here across the river there.
Okay.
Smith
okay.
Bend, you've heard of Smith Bend?
Yes. Is it on 933?
I don't know. It's just over there toward Coon Creek.
Coon Creek. I think I see it. See, I live in Golson, and I think I see it when I
Oh,
go to
yeah.
Whitney.
Well, my dad was born in Golson,
Oh. Oh, okay.
in Hickory Flat.
Now, see, I've not heard that before.
Well, it's there.
Hickory Flat
Yeah.
in Golson.
Yeah.
I'll have to find out where that is.
Well, it's over there close to Golson in Aquila.
Okay.
And my mother was was born in Bosque County,
Okay.
over there, and all I don't know. Mr. Smith, he had lots of land.
Mhm.
I forgot what they said he bought it for, an acre, maybe 25 cents an acre,
Oh, huh.
and it went clear to the Brazos River, you know.
Oh,
and
my.
anyway,
What was his name? What was his first name?
John, I believe it was John.
Okay.
John and I don't remember what his wife's name was, Ann or what.
Okay.
My mother's grandmother was named was McCabe.
McCabe?
Yeah, one of the Smith lady. One of Mr. Smith had about 10 children.
Oh, goodness.
And,
Okay.
My grandmother's name, her grandmother's name was Ann, and she married a McCabe fella, Silas McCabe. He
Okay.
was quite a fellow. And
How do you spell McCabe? Is that M-C-C-C?
MCCABE, I believe.
Okay. Okay.
And he was kind of a runner. I mean, head, whatever you would want to, high up in the community of running things, you know, and
A
this, that.
community
Back in
leader.
those days.
Uh-huh.
My grandmother was born in 1864.
And this is McCabe, married
Yeah,
to
her
a
name.
Smith?
Yeah,
Okay.
Mr. McCabe married Ann Smith. That was Mr. Smith's, I think it's his youngest daughter, I think.
Okay.
The last one to be born. And That's about the background there.
Okay. Now, did you have any brothers and sisters?
I had one sister.
Okay. Was she younger or older?
No, she's older than
Okay.
me. She
Oh.
died this year.
Oh, I'm
I believe.
sorry.
I believe. I think she was about 88 or something like that.
Okay.
I'm nearly 85 myself.
Yeah, well.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, anyway, that's the that was the family.
Okay.
And then I had kinfolks here in Waco,
Okay.
and I played in the band in high school, you know.
So is that where you got your first musical
yeah,
training?
it was in high school.
And did you start out on the tenor sax or?
I started out on the clarinet.
Oh, okay.
Clarinet and the tenor sax have similar
Uh-huh.
fingerings.
Uh-huh.
And so I started out on the clarinet and then learned to play the tenor sax just on the side.
Okay, and how old were you at this time?
Oh, 15, 16,
So
something
you
like
didn't
that.
have
14.
any musical training before then?
Oh, no.
Oh,
no,
okay.
No.
Okay.
My mother knew how to play the piano a little bit, you know. Anyway, well, then my daddy played a little guitar.
Oh, he did?
When they lived at Goldson and he was a
Uh-huh.
young boy, they would cross the river out here at Patrick.
Oh, yeah.
They'd cross the river and go over to Meridian and play a dance of some kind, just,
Oh,
you know,
huh.
fiddle and guitar and
So you had it in your
so,
blood.
yeah, I probably had something, I guess you could say that.
Yeah, yeah.
And and then so when I went in the service
What year was that?
at 1942,
Okay, okay.
and I volunteered in the when you volunteered back then, the war was going, you know,
Yeah.
and you volunteered in the Army, but if you requested to go to the Air Force and you were a volunteer, they would let you go to the Air Force.
Okay.
But you're still in the Army even though you were in the Air Force. And they shipped me to a band in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah, the 14th Army Air Force Band.
Did you do any what am I trying to say? Basic training?
Oh, we basic train. We didn't do much. We went to Mineral Wells. That's where
Oh, okay.
that's where the infantry and all that bunch up there.
Okay.
That's where they shipped you, and you got all your shots and
Oh, sure.
this, that, and the other. And then they shipped several of us over to Wichita Falls to the Air Force. They had a air base there.
Mhm. Mhm.
And from there they asked you where you wanted to go or what you wanted to do, and I said, well, I'll play, you know, if they want me to play. Of course, I love to play because we had a little orchestra in Hillsboro.
Oh. When you were in high school?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
we had a little orchestra there. It was called the Sophisticated Swingsters,
Oh. Oh.
and it was ran by
That's a neat name.
Tom Bullock. That's
Tom-
Bobby's brother.
Oh. Well, my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah, I knew.
It's a small world.
Yeah, knew Bobby. We used to, kids, we all played football. Bobby was always smaller than us. But anyway, Tommy was ran the band.
Okay. How big was this band?
Well, we had 4 saxes,
Wow.
and we had 2 trumpets, and I can only recall 1 trombone, and a bass, and a piano, and drums.
Okay.
And of course, we played mostly at the theater on Sunday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, huh. And see, I imagined you playing dances, but
Well, we would play a few dances,
Uh-huh.
but back in those days there wasn't very many dances going on in Hillsboro.
okay. So you played at the theater Was that a concert?
Oh no, we just play you the standard songs, like "In the
Okay.
Mood" and
Uh-huh.
things like that, and we'd play about 30 minutes. Of course, we got to go to the show free all week.
Oh, okay. Now, was this before the matinee or after the matinee?
No, before.
It was before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, let me see.
Do you need to get that?
That's all right. Hello. We get. I hope that.
Yeah, we're back on now.
All right. Where was I? We was at the theater.
Yeah, and I asked you if you played before or after the matinee.
Yeah, we play it before the show opened.
Oh, okay.
About 12:30 to 1, something like that on Sundays.
And they paid y'all by letting you come free?
Yeah.
That's how. Oh,
that's about it in that day.
Well, it's kind of barter.
That's about it in
situation,
that day. And every once in a while we played a few dance jobs.
Did you venture out much, or were you pretty much
We went
just
maybe
in
as far as Corsicana and Waco.
Well, that's a ways. That's a ways.
We came down. We played a little bit in Waco at a place called the 67 Club.
Okay, I ran across that in my research.
That was on old Highway 6.
Okay.
That's when it went across the lake, and it was on this side though.
Oh, okay, on the Waco side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, huh.
But it wasn't. That didn't go over.
Okay, now let's see. I'm imagining y'all wearing tuxedos and stuff.
I don't remember what we wore.
Oh, you
I
don't?
think
Okay.
just a coat and tie.
Probably, yeah.
And
did you do that all through high school?
pretty much so until the war came.
Okay.
Yeah, and that stopped everything.
And you said you went to junior high for a little while. Did you mean there at Hill County College? Is that what?
Oh, junior college.
The junior college.
I went to Hillsborough Junior College
Okay.
after I got back from the service.
Okay. Oh,
I got
after.
back in 1946. I got discharged.
Okay.
And,
Well, I want to hear about the war years. And
well,
what you did. And you said you went to
I
Lincoln.
spent about a year at Lincoln,
Okay.
and they were kind of busting up that band, and I had played. We had a big dance band there,
Oh.
and of course, when I went there, I couldn't blow my nose, as far as being a good jazz artist, and but there were several people in that band that had played with big bands.
Oh. Okay.
They were older than me,
Mhm.
and I would listen to them and learn and listen and learn, and finally they put me in the jazz band. We had a big jazz band, and we did a little touring with USO shows around in that area while we were there. That was just extra. And so I learned to play jazz and big orchestra stuff there.
Okay.
And then, like I said, they were busting up that band, and then they sent me. We had played a big dance for some high-ranking officers.
There in Lincoln?
There in Lincoln one night, and I was getting ready to be shipped. They were going to ship me back in the Army and put me back in the. I was getting ready to go to the Battle of the Bulge.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I had played that night and there was 2 or 3 generals there, and all of them, they were there, and so the little sergeant that led the orchestra, dance orchestra, the general had come up and requested a song called "Body and Soul," and I had played it for him. It was kind of a saxophone number, and he told the general, says, they're going to ship him out tomorrow. And the general says, no, says, they're not going to ship him out. Says, I want him. And it was the general of one of the generals in the 20th Air Force, of the 315th Bomb Wing and the headquarters squadron.
Okay.
And so they were getting ready to go overseas, and he wanted an orchestra. So he just ripped me out and just took me away. And so I went to the 20th Air Force into the 315th Bomb Wing, headquarters squadron,
And where was it located?
It was at Colorado Springs then.
Oh, nice.
And we stayed there to get ready to go overseas for about 3 months, and then we shipped up to Seattle and left there for Guam.
Okay.
And
when was that?
well, that was in 1944, I guess, or something like that, somewhere in there.
Okay.
I'll try to get. Must have been in 44. Yeah, I guess it was 44. And we got on the ship, and we went to.
Where did
we
you
went
board
to Guam.
the ship?
We boarded at Seattle.
Oh, that's right, Seattle. Okay.
Yeah, Puget Sound. And we got in bad storm on the way.
Oh, really?
And,
what time of year is this?
We were, huh?
What time of year is this?
This was about April.
Okay.
It seemed like March or April or somewhere in there, May.
Okay.
And it was bad. And we didn't go over on a large ship. We went over on a victory ship.
Do you remember the name of it?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Anyway, it wasn't as big as some of the big Navy ships, but we was in a bad. It took us about nearly 30 days to get to Hawaii.
Oh my goodness!
It was just up and down and up and down. That may be 30 days to get to Guam.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't remember how long it was to get to Hawaii, but we had lots of sick guys.
Were you seasick?
No, I wasn't seasick. I wasn't seasick. So we finally got to Hawaii, and stayed there maybe 2 or 3 days, and then we went on through Saipan and Eniwetok and into Guam. And Guam was pretty well occupied by us. I think there's about 4,000 Japs still there, but they'd stay out in the jungle, and they wouldn't bother you if you didn't bother them. But they would usually try to come in and steal food and stuff like that. But anyway, we got there, and we, of course, we were an orchestra, and the General Armstrong, he had us playing for we'd go play for the Marines, and then we'd play for the Navy, and then Army, and the Seabees, and we had a little show that we played, and it wasn't real great, but it was all right. They got a big kick out of it.
Well, did y'all have singers that accompanied you?
Every now and then, some of the USO people would come with us.
Okay.
And have a singer and stuff like that, but not too often. Okay. And then we played for we mainly played for the officers. On Saturday night, they always had a big dance, and it was all for the officers and the nurses.
Was there a nice officers club there?
Yeah, they had. Oh yes,
Okay.
yes. Guam was pretty good. It had a lot of hills and mountains and stuff, lots of. But they had a real nice officers club there. We'd have to. Guam was about 30 miles long, I think, and we'd get in the truck and go where we had to go and play, and then it was night when we'd come back.
What'd you do on your off time?
We just practiced and played. I was with the headquarters squadron, and the airfield, we flew B-29s, and the airfield was kind of away from us. Maybe a couple of miles at the most.
Okay.
And but we didn't. I was, like I said, I was with the orchestra. That's what General Armstrong wanted. And we had some good musicians in there. And so I played there through. And then when they dropped the bomb, well then you got to come home whenever you had enough points. That's how you got you know.
And the point system worked how?
Well, it was according to, I guess it was according to how many days you'd been in the Army,
Okay.
you know.
Okay.
And I had about, it seemed like I had 85 or 90 points, so I got, it dropped the bomb in August, I think, the atomic bomb in August. The plane went off from our airfield.
Oh, yeah.
And so that was the beginning of the end. And it was about February before we came back on a big aircraft carrier
Okay.
and came in at California, at San Pedro, California. And of course, during the trips, we played the horns, you know, for the boys and everything, and did all that. But we didn't. Some of the things we played were just little combos, you know, make 4 or 5 pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Came back, got discharged, came home, and
Did you spend any time stateside before you were released in 46?
not much. We came in at California and stayed there about 2 weeks at San Pedro, California, and then we got on a train and came all the way to Camp Fanning over here close to Tyler, I believe, Camp Fanning. And I got discharged there
Oh, okay.
and caught a bus to Dallas and the interurban back to Hillsboro.
Yeah.
And then I enrolled in college,
Okay.
and I spent a year, took a freshman year of college,
Okay.
and I decided that, and I came to Waco occasionally and played, and I came down here in 1946.
With a band?
I came down to Waco by myself, and they had a band out at a place called the Casablanca.
Okay.
It's out on the end of, going down toward the old Lake Waco,
Okay.
on the end of 34th Street, I believe.
34.
Yeah, Park
Okay.
Lake Drive.
Oh, okay.
And there was a band playing in there, and small band. And I went in and asked him if I could sit in. And the manager said, yeah, the owner, I guess, or manager, his name is Pete Baggett. Yeah. So I went up and sat in, and they hired me right then.
Oh, my goodness.
So they hired me. That was my first job in Waco.
What was the
And
name
it was
of the
a
band?
small
Was
band,
this a
and
house band?
Preston Miles
Preston Miles
was running it was a little combo.
Okay.
It wasn't a big band. It was me and Preston, piano, drums, and bass.
Okay.
So it was small band. And that lasted a little while. And after that, and they wanted a big band. So there was a fellow here that had a music store. His name was Slovacic.
Slovakia.
Yeah, Slovacic's music store. And his son played trumpet.
Oh, okay.
I think this is, yeah. His son played trumpet, and so he organized a big band to play at the Casablanca. And
Okay.
that's
see.
it. That's it right
I
there.
see you have a photograph
That's
here.
it,
Oh,
right there.
wow. Okay.
That's the first big band at the Casablanca.
This is great.
That's the first one. I don't know what this is.
Would you allow me to borrow this?
Oh, yeah,
and
you can
scan
borrow
it, and
that.
I'll bring it back to you.
Sure.
Oh, thank you. Thank
This
you very
is,
much. This is a great.
This is I don't know whether it's got all the girls on it. This is Slovacic, the boy, and the girl there is named Wanda Roughton.
Oh yeah.
She used to
okay.
work for KWTX, but she died. Anyway, she sang, and that's me right there.
Man, you've got this all labeled.
I don't know. No, Louis Slovacic, he lives in California now, but he sent this, and
That's great.
there's Judge Joe Johnson.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Joe, and I think that's George Nethery. And some of them I don't know, Ben Wainwright and Charlie Hooks. But anyway, you can see that's the first big band.
Wow. And it was called
It's just
his orchestra.
Slovacic's orchestra,
Slovacic's Orchestra. This is great.
And that was, what does he say when it was? 46, 7?
1946.
6. That's right. That's
Okay.
it. 46.
Okay, this is great. So how long did you play with them?
Well, till we busted up, I don't know. You know, we probably played maybe 6 months or a year,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and you know, something might have happened, and I don't remember what happened, but anyway, the band finally busted up, and then we had another big band after that that played there, probably 47.
This is still Casablanca?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
In 47, we had another big band, and I don't remember who ran it. It seemed like Wayman Hunt did, but it was 3 or 4 saxes. About not quite as big a band as that, but and we played there also at the and in between that, I'm getting ahead of myself. In between that, after this band, the other big band that came along was Bobby Hamilton.
Bobby Hamilton.
Bobby
Okay,
Hamilton.
okay.
Bobby's dead. He was a graduate of Baylor, and he worked for Success Motivation.
Oh, SMI.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And we had Bobby played saxophone, and me, and I think maybe Ben Wainwright there played with us. Judge Joe Johnson, Joe
Mm-hmm.
had played with us, and Preston Miles also played with us. And we played out at the Casa for, I don't know, probably a year or so at least, somewhere in there.
So did you play every single week, or?
We
How often did you
we
play?
played about Friday and Saturday.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
about all they could afford. And mostly, you know, the Baylor kids were mostly Baylor kids out
Oh, really?
there. Yeah.
Okay. Now, what kind of place was Casablanca? I mean, was it a dinner?
You can
place
they had
too?
you can eat. They had tables, and they had served steaks and all that.
Okay.
And then later on, and then a little bit later on, they built the outside. They made an outside pavilion
Okay.
and a stage and everything, and we played out there in the summer
Okay.
with Wayman Hunt's band. Some trumpet player had just come off of Jack Teagarden's band, and
Oh, really?
they had him. He knew Wayman. Wayman Hunt and Preston Miles
Mm-hmm.
used to play. Well, Preston played with Jack Teagarden after the war.
Oh, really?
Yeah, not for long because
Uh-huh.
he came home.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, they knew the boys on there. And so anyway, that's the Casablanca stint there. Up until 48 and 49, it was really going strong, you know.
Okay. Now, what are you what are you doing? What's your day job?
While I was doing that, I was working at Buzzy Music Company,
Oh, okay.
Joe Buzzy Music Company.
Uh-huh.
And I thought maybe I'd like to learn to repair horns.
Oh,
I could
okay.
go in the GI Bill, you know.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Well, I did that for a while, and I decided, no, I didn't want to do that. So I went to 4C College
Okay.
and
Downtown.
learned bookkeeping and
Mm-hmm.
and all that, typing, bookkeeping, whatever they had to offer.
Now, when was this? What years was this that you were at 4C?
It was probably 49 or,
Mm-hmm.
you know, 49 or 50, 48, 49 or 50, somewhere in there.
Okay.
And so I learned how to keep books and do bookkeeping. And That was about the stint of the Casa. That stopped in about the 50, 49, something like that, 49, maybe 49 or 50 or something like that.
Okay.
And then we had they built a big dance place called the Scenic Wonderland.
Oh, yes. My mother
And-
used to talk about that place.
Yeah.
I do want to hear about
And
that.
we played, Omar McKim was an organist,
Okay.
and he had he got the band up, and we had about 3 saxes and trombone and trumpet. Didn't have a big band. Trombone, trumpet, organ, bass, and drums.
Okay, so what kind of music were y'all playing?
Well, those were all special arrangements written. We was playing all the old standards,
Okay.
Cole Porter stuff
Oh,
and
yeah.
Jerome Kern, and that's what we'd play.
But for dancing?
Yeah, My
Okay.
Blue Heaven and
Yeah.
Ain't She Sweet and
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
And
And where were you playing at this time? At the Scenic
at the
Wonderland.
Scenic, yeah,
Okay.
and that was.
Where was that located?
It was, how you go to Marlin.
Mm-hmm.
You go across the bridge, you go across the Brazos, and then when you go to turn to go to Marlin and get on the highway,
Mm-hmm.
it was right there down after you turned. It was right on the corner,
Oh, okay.
right on that
Okay.
corner.
Okay.
Big place.
Yeah.
And we played, I believe we played 3 nights a week.
Wow.
That was in the 50s.
And what nights were they?
Well, they were
Saturday?
Saturday. They were Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday.
Oh, okay.
I don't think we played on Sunday. Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. And then whenever Cecil Epps ran that place, and about once a month for several months, maybe a year or two, he got a name band in every month.
Oh, yeah? How big an
We
band?
get,
Like who?
Jimmy Dorsey,
Oh, my goodness.
Harry James,
Oh,
Count Basie,
wow.
Stan Kenton, Jan Garber. All my friends several of my friends played with Jan Garber that were in the Army with me.
Oh, uh-huh.
But I couldn't go because I was married. And I didn't want to go on the road
Yeah.
because it was bad. But anyway, they'd usually, one of my real good friends that played jazz trumpet with him, he'd always stay with us whenever he come. When they had Jan Garber a couple of times out there, but anyway.
Did
Cool.
you ever sit in with any of these?
Oh, I didn't sit
bands?
in with them.
Uh-huh.
I did play with Glenn Miller. He came here. Oh gosh, I guess it's been 10 years ago now.
I was at that dance.
Well, I was playing tenor.
Wow.
Their tenor man had gotten sick, and they called me and really wanted me to play for several jobs with them. But I had some jobs booked here, and I hated to.
You were already busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, I got to play with them that night.
That's something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I knew some of them in that band. A lot of them in the band were from North Texas State in Denton.
Okay. They have a good program up there.
Yeah, they always had a good jazz program. So some of them, I ended up knowing some of them.
Mm-hmm.
But it was hard work because I had to sight read that music. And the older you get, the worse it is.
Well, but I've been listening to you on YouTube, and boy.
Yeah, I get letters from all over the world. Some of them I can't read.
Well, I bet you've got all these songs in your head, and you
Yeah.
don't really need to read music.
Well, if you're just going to play with a combo, you don't need music. If you know most of them anyway.
Yeah.
But with a big band, you have to be there with the rest of them when they're playing.
Yeah.
And you got to play the right notes at the right time.
Right. You've got to play their arrangements.
But I really enjoyed it, and of course
I
it was a
bet.
thrill to me,
Yeah, I bet it was.
Anyway,
So
the bands, we played out with Omar.
Uh-huh.
He played out at the Scenic Wonderland. We must have played maybe 2 years out there, at least,
Okay.
maybe. And all the time, of course, we saw all those big bands.
So this is like in the early 50s?
Right.
Okay.
Right. And
What was the Scenic Wonderland like? Was it a
well,
nice
it was
place?
just
I mean, was it
was just big place.
Uh-huh.
Nothing inside of it much. Maybe a little decorations,
Uh-huh.
but wasn't much. Wasn't nothing.
Tables around the floor, chairs around the
No.
floor? No?
Well, they had tables and chairs.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because when Harry James or Kenton or Darcy
Mm-hmm.
would play, it was full.
Oh, I bet it was.
Yeah, back in that
It was.
time, because that was time that everybody still liked good music.
So, what did it cost to get into the Scenic Wonderland?
I
when
don't
those
seem me
bands
like
played.
it wasn't. It might have been $5 a couple or something like
Yeah.
that. I don't know, because I never did pay.
Yeah.
The band always got in free because we were the house band,
Yeah.
and we'd have a table right by the band. And Jimmy Darcy came and sat with us a long time. We talked to him,
Yeah.
and when I was in the Army, I met some of the guys that played with Glenn Miller also, Hal McIntyre.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, and so that lasted about 2 years, and they had other little places in Waco at that time, but they were mostly for small bands.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest band was at the Scenic,
Okay.
and they had little combos, and seemed like there was a little place right down from us called the Ranch House or something like that. And I think Joe
Was that
John-
on the Circle?
No,
No?
that's maybe I'm thinking
There
of,
was a couple of
Yeah, there
places
was
near the Circle.
they were near the
that-
Circle, but they were country western.
Oh, okay.
They weren't jazz places.
Okay.
And I didn't
You didn't.
play country music
Okay.
at all.
Good. I'm glad to establish that.
No country music. But not that some of it wasn't good,
Well,
but some
it's
of
just-
it is good.
But when I was growing up, it was all country music, and so
Yeah.
I like to know that Waco had this jazz
Yeah, yeah.
music going on.
Right, and we had, and then there was another place out here on North 19th called Arnold's.
Arnold.
Uh-huh.
Okay, now I didn't run across
And,
that in my
um,
research.
He just had a small band, but I just thought I'd tell you.
Uh-huh.
Elwood Euchre was an organist and 2 or 3 guys that played with him.
Okay, how do
they-
you spell Euchre's last name? I don't think
That's
I-
probably Euker.
Yeah.
Elwood
yeah.
Euchre.
Okay.
Nice fella. And and then after I left the Scenic, and that band busted up, there was another place on down the road called the Tropical Lounge.
Mm-hmm.
Back in this was, I'd say, 53,
Mm-hmm.
about
Okay.
52 or 3, something like that.
Okay.
And I played with a small band, me and Preston Miles,
Mm-hmm.
and it was Buddy Woody's band.
Oh, okay.
Buddy played organ, and we only had just the organ, drums, and saxophone and trombone.
Do you remember who played drums and trombone?
Well, Preston Miles played trombone.
Oh, okay. So
Yes.
who was drums?
The drum fellow, you wouldn't know him, and a lot of them wouldn't know him. His last name was Fialo.
Yeah.
He had come down here from up north or somewhere,
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
and he was a band director over in Meridian.
Oh, okay.
And he'd come over and play. We played maybe 2 nights a week at there.
Okay.
And at that time, I was working for. I went to work for a Holsey Music Company. After I got out of 4C, I went to work for a fella that had a bunch of lumber companies. But that was dull and void. I didn't like to do that.
Uh-huh.
And then I quit there, and I worked for Central Forwarding for 2 or 3 months, and I went down to Holsey Music Company when he was on Austin Avenue,
Uh-huh.
and I told him I'd like to come work, so he hired me. And while I was working for Holsey, I think that's when I was playing it in the 50s, about 52, 3 at the Tropical Lounge.
Now, what were you doing for Holtzy's? Were you keeping books
Well,
there?
he didn't
or-
have any books,
Oh,
and I said, of course, and I was selling horns, you know,
Okay.
and still playing. He didn't have any books, and so I set up all of his books for him.
oh, okay.
And so I started keeping his books as well as doing the other. And then, gosh, my wife.
I think you're telling her too much.
Well, she wanted.
No, he's
She
telling
wa-
me good stuff.
Would you like a glass of iced tea?
I would love some. Thank you.
And that's 52,
Okay.
about 52. And we were playing at Tropical there with a small band. And then in the, of course, we had jobs on the side. You know, we used to have the rodeo come here
Oh yeah.
every year.
Yeah, it was a big
and,
deal.
And this is, I don't know what year this is.
Let me see it. You can tell.
What year? This is early.
Well, they didn't build the Coliseum until
Right.
53, 52, 53,
Somewhere
54.
in there.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, this is a job that we were playing out there.
Oh, okay.
Got them all.
It must have been pretty. And Slovakic was trying to lead the band. It was just a bunch of us, you know. They
Oh,
want brass band, you know. What does it say? Or the Texas Fair
Rodeo
and
band.
rodeo.
What does that
I can't
say?
tell.
53?
Who knows?
Okay.
And
this is great.
there's Preston Miles.
Uh-huh.
No, yeah, that's Preston. No, this is Preston Miles. This is Lyle Skinner, the band director for Waco High
Oh,
for many
yeah,
years.
I know that name.
Yeah, Lyle
Okay.
Skinner,
Wow.
and he was
Great.
that's Slovakic. This
Uh-huh.
fellow here died last week, Frank Armstrong.
Oh.
That was me,
Uh-huh.
and that's Bill that's Bill Baggett of
Uh-huh.
Empire Seed. He owns him. He did own. He
Okay.
died. He
Uh-huh.
died. This fellow was a repairman for Slovakic.
Uh-huh.
His name's DeLillo.
Okay.
And this fellow here was a band director called, his name was Andrew Weeding. He was one of the junior high band directors
Mm-hmm.
of the Waco Public Schools. That's Fialo.
Okay.
This fellow here is named James Gunn.
Okay.
But anyway, we'd get jobs, you know, in between.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
in between, wasn't dance jobs. They weren't dance. They were jobs like that. And then, okay, we got that going there.
How long did you play in that band?
Oh, that's just a
That was just a
one-time thing, you
Oh,
know.
okay.
And then maybe next year it'd be a different bunch,
Oh,
you know.
okay.
And we'd
They were
play.
usually all
and we'd-
union people, weren't they, Dad?
Yeah, we were union people, and then
Union
also
jobs.
we played the Escapades. They came through.
Do you care for sugar?
Oh, yeah.
It came through. The Escapades came through at the Coliseum. We played those also with the big band.
Y'all played circuses.
Oh,
And
my
we played-
goodness.
I played for Ringling Brothers a couple of 3 or 4 times, you know.
Sure is.
And of course that was mostly. Well, it was big band. It was a big band. And then.
You want a squirt of lemon?
Oh, yeah.
You like tea?
I like it all
I
the
love
way.
tea.
That rocked on, and then 1954 I got saved.
You got saved.
Yeah, 54 I believe.
Okay.
You wasn't
1950,
gonna play in joints anymore.
1954 I got saved.
Well, you managed to work a lot and
Well,
stay home in Waco.
I had
Thank you.
You what?
I was working for Lewis Holsey, which is not, great, good man, and I was playing on the side here and there, and but it's mostly always small dance bands. And anyway, that I got saved. It was time for me to get saved, so I got saved and I quit playing nearly altogether. I played some in church.
What church did you belong to?
I just belonged to a non-denominational church that was close to Hosey's there.
Oh, okay.
And I'd go up there during my coffee breaks and get fortified. Anyway, I was working at Hosey. It didn't make much money, and I wasn't playing anymore because I made quite a bit of money playing. It really
yeah,
helped.
I bet.
And I had 3 kids, and so I got down and got a hold of God and told him, I said, I'm going to lay out a fleece. I said, if I'm going to take the post office exam, and I said, if I pass it, and they called me before January the 1st, that was about 1958.
Okay.
I said, if they call me, I'll go. Other than that, I'll stay here and work for Lewis. So about December the 27th or 8th, the postmaster called Lewis Hosey, and he says, you got a band down there named Graves? I said, yeah. He says, well, I'm going to hire him.
Oh.
So that tickled me. And so I went to work at the post office in January or February of '59.
Where did you work? Which branch were you at?
Downtown.
Downtown?
Yeah,
Okay.
I was a clerk.
Okay. The old downtown post office.
Right, the old one. And
On Franklin.
I was a
Okay.
clerk there.
Okay.
And just played the horn mostly in church.
Okay.
And then, so I didn't do much playing. And every now and then I'd play some kind of, wedding or reception or something like that. And then, because the post office took up most of my time,
Oh, I imagine.
because I had to start out at nights,
Mhm.
and then I finally made supervisor and had a daytime job then until I retired.
Were you always at the Franklin?
Well, until we moved out on Sanger, Highway 6 in Sanger,
Okay. Okay.
and we moved out there, and I stayed until '85, and then I retired. I had
Okay.
enough time with my Army time,
Uh-huh.
and I got out. And so then, the other band.
Uh-huh.
So I started. If God didn't condemn me, I would play certain places. I'm going to put all that. Anyway, I started playing with a fellow named Harold Strand.
Oh yeah.
Harold, he had a polka band,
Mhm.
and we played, a lot of places where they danced the polka. That's what they.
Did you play at West?
We played it west.
Oh, I imagine.
And yeah.
How
And,
big was this band?
Well, Harold, we had first we had 3 saxes. 3 saxes and 2 trumpets,
Mhm.
no trombone, and Harold plays accordion, and we had bass and drums. So that was pretty good sized band.
Yeah.
And so Harold wanted to start branching out and playing for dances, And so I started writing arrangements, So I wrote.
Okay.
We added another sax, and we had 4 saxes, 2 trumpets, and bass, guitar, drums, and accordion. And so we had a pretty nice. And so I wrote arrangements for him, and we started playing here and there. You know, we'd go as far. We'd play in the hotels in San Antonio,
Really?
and of course we played here.
And this is like late 50s, early
It's
60s?
85. This is in '85.
Oh, okay.
After I
So-
retired.
Okay, after you retired.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'd play here and there, you know, and
Well, y'all did play all over.
yeah, we'd go as far as San Antonio, played in the hotel down there, and we'd play over in far as Lubbock, and then we'd go to, they had a lot of Czech halls,
Yes, yes.
and we'd play for the Czechs. Of course, we had to play a lot of polkas
Yeah.
and waltzes.
Uh-huh.
But it was a job, and then
How did y'all travel?
we usually Harold had a bus.
Oh, he did?
Yeah,
Okay.
he had a van
Uh-huh.
and a wagon behind it, pulled a wagon. Anyway, then that's in the '80s, and then Dr. Charlie Stewart had a big band, size of Glenn Miller's band,
Okay.
big band,
Uh-huh.
Dr. Charles Stewart.
Uh-huh.
And so I started playing with him. We kind of busted up with Harold's band because didn't nobody want to travel and go. Most of them were working. I was about the only one. Anyway, I started playing with Charlie, and Charlie had a nice big band, and we would use a lot of the musicians from Denton.
Oh.
That's how I knew some of those that played with the Miller, Glenn Miller.
Uh-huh.
And so Charlie had 5 saxes
Wow.
and 4 trombones
Wow.
and 4 trumpets.
I bet
and-
y'all sounded good.
Yeah, guitar, bass, piano, and drums. And we played mostly for the dance club out at Ridgewood.
Okay.
The
okay.
I forgot what they called it, the dance club, and did that for 2 or 3, 4 years anyway, and until people started dying off.
Yeah. Well, did y'all travel much with
No,
Charlie
we didn't.
Stewart? You stayed
We
mostly
did go to
locally?
Dallas. We played a couple of times in Dallas for a convention, and we played one time. One time we played in Odessa for a. Charlie was an optometrist. Is an optometrist. Of course, he's old now, but he had a big office here in Waco, and he was a musician, you know, on the side. And so we played. He'd booked those things, those conventions for, and so we had we'd go as far as Odessa, which was a long way.
Boy, I'm telling you,
And
that is a long way.
yeah, we played maybe in Temple for once or twice, and then we played for a lot of things here in Waco, conventions. But times, you know, as time went on, it got a little bit worse, and people couldn't afford it. That's a 17, 18-piece band. So
Yes.
you look at it about $2,000
Yes.
right at it, you know,
And that's a shame.
for the band, yeah. And in the dance club, the folks in the dance club were getting older and older and dying and dying. It got smaller and smaller. But and then, so we formed a little smaller band. Smaller. We got 1 sax and trumpet, trombone, guitar, bass, piano, and drums.
And who was this?
And that's
Was this-
Ed Burleson.
Oh, Ed Burleson.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's me and Ed, and his son played drums, and Carolyn, his wife, plays piano. And we had Dr. Bill Haskett on trombone.
Okay.
And then now I have to back up because we still do have a big band called the Haskett Burleson Big Band,
Okay.
and it's the Ed and Burleson, and Bill Haskett bought Charlie library.
Oh, okay.
So that's what we
Okay,
play.
I see.
And so,
Uh-huh.
and we use, of course, we use all we can players from Baylor. Like Mike Jacobson plays with us.
Mhm.
He's a saxophone teacher out there.
Well, do y'all get to play as a big band very often, though?
Here lately, not too often.
What was your last
played,
job?
We played for the debutantes out at Ridgewood.
Oh, okay.
That's been 4, 5, 6 months ago.
Uh-huh.
And I think the next job is down at the convention, maybe in November or sometime. I don't know. It don't happen because just don't. People don't want to pay for that anymore. I mean, they don't want to pay that much money.
Yeah.
And anyway, Ed, we have this small band, in between that we have now, and
y'all play Philo Club dances at
Philo.
Ridgewood.
We play for the Philo. We
Uh-huh.
play for the Cabaret Dance Club,
Mhm.
and we play at Sul Ross, and we also play with Harold's big band at Sul Ross.
Do you ever play at In the Mood Ballroom and Temple?
And we played. Who did I play with down there? I played down there in that ballroom with Dick. He was the band director at Killeen. I can't call it. Wasn't a big band. It was a small band.
Okay.
And then we play. I play with a big band. No, it's not a big band. It's I play with the Austin band
Oh, huh.
that come to Temple and play for the Stardust dance
Oh, okay.
people.
Now, where does Stardust and Temple have their?
They have it out at
dances?
the VA Center, right there. What's the name? Dodson or
H.E. Dodson.
whatever
Loop?
it is. It's right
Okay.
out there. It's before you get into Temple, going south.
Okay.
And where the VA, it's the VA building that they use for
Okay.
different occasions.
Okay, I think I know what you're talking
And
about. Okay.
we play out there for them and with Ed Burleson's band now. And then I play some with a band from Austin out there. They call me, and it's called Midnight Express.
Oh, okay.
And but I got 2 new knees, and so
Oh, you sure did.
and I told the guy that one of them was hurting so bad before I had the work done. I said, I'm quitting. I said, I can't get up and go anymore. So I kind of quit playing with him, and he called me back and found out that I was still playing. So if he calls
So
me,
he's going to put you to work again.
yeah, but that's about as far as I go.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I'll play for something like that.
Uh-huh.
And then we play a lot out at Ridgewood for different occasions, for anniversaries and weddings and for the doctors. And there's just not a whole lot nowadays now.
Yeah. Well,
And
why do you think that is? Why do you think
Well-
big band music just fell away?
they
from
don't have the
Waco?
money to pay for it.
Mhm.
Now, if they would cut it, if they'd cut the price, the people that try to do the booking, if they would cut the price and play for, instead of paying for $100 a man, pay for 50, we get lots of work.
Yeah.
Because they'd hire you.
Yeah.
Because once they hear the big band, they just love it,
Well, remember that
Especially even at Sul Ross, when we play down there with Harold's big band, they just go crazy over it. But we play real cheap. We're for the seniors, it's for the seniors.
Yeah, I've been there a couple of times.
Yeah, and then other than that, it's mostly country western down there. And
Well, I remember that Glenn Miller dance that took place
down at the Coliseum. I mean, yeah, down at
it was
the
at the convention
convention center. Yeah.
and it was, gosh, 10 years or more ago.
Yeah, 10
and,
years ago.
And
Well,
they
you see
filled
how it
that
goes.
place up.
Yeah, you see, I just didn't know how long ago it had been.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I wanted
But that's
to,
about the crop of the big bands
Yeah, yeah.
in Waco now. It's just all gone. That have we have that small Ed Burleson's band, and if we have an occasion, then we get the big band going. You know, if there's an occasion for it. I don't know what we're going to play for down there, but for something, and we play for Baylor. A couple of 3 times every year. We play out at the whenever the parents' night,
oh, you do?
But
I
that's-
didn't know that.
and that's with we don't do any reading. We just play jazz,
Oh, okay.
Dixieland and jazz.
Now, where do y'all do that?
Well, it's out there. Is that big library building or? Oh no, you turn in. Let's see, off of University Drive. You go up till you get to about the last right turn, and turn and go down 2 or 3 blocks, and then turn left, and then there's this. What is that big building? Student Union? No.
Well, there is the Student Union building right there in the middle of campus. It's red brick. Do y'all play there? They have a big
This
drawing
one's got
room.
big columns.
Yeah, that sounds like.
Big columns. Got a upstairs 2 or 3 floors at least.
Well, that sounds like Pat Neff, and it can't be Pat Neff.
No, it's not that. It's anyway. I don't remember. I never did pay any attention.
Oh, it's the Mayburn Museum. Is that it? Because they
No.
have a big room. No.
No, we play outside, and
Play outside.
yeah, but usually we do unless it's bad
Okay.
weather.
Okay, well maybe it is outside of Pat Neff. Maybe it's that
You
mall.
like you were going toward I-35 there on University Drive. I mean, you were going toward LaSalle.
Yeah.
You go out here, and about the last turnoff before you get to LaSalle, you turn in there and go down a couple of blocks to the red light, and go about. Well, it's about right there on the corner.
Oh, that's the SLIC, the Student Life Center.
Yeah, it's a big. Yeah, it's a
Yes.
big thing.
Okay, the Student Life
Yeah,
Center.
yeah. I
Oh,
think that's what it
okay.
is. And so we play there, and then we play. We play for the Baylor alumni down at the convention.
Okay.
All the old Baylor people that went to
Yeah.
Baylor,
Yeah.
and they come down there, and
Oh, huh.
And
Well, I
have a
didn't know
big
y'all did
dinner.
that. Yeah.
we have a small. Well, it's the small band. We play the small band, but we don't
Okay.
read any music because we just
You just-
play requests and things like that while they're all reminiscing and
Yeah.
stuff.
Okay.
Anyway,
Well, you stay awful busy, don't you?
well, like I said, the business is falling off,
Yeah. Yeah.
and of course it doesn't bother me too much because I don't like to go no further than Ridgewood or Baylor.
Yeah, well, I wanted to ask you some about who, when you were a kid, did you listen to records, and was there a particular musician that you tried to pattern yourself after?
Oh, of course.
Who was your
we
musical influence?
We loved Glenn Miller,
Mhm.
and we liked Tommy Dorsey, and Les Brown was a good band back then, and bands you haven't heard of, Claude Thornhill,
No, I haven't
and
heard
Hal Kemp.
Hal Kemp.
He was. I was in the Air Force band with the fellow that played with Hal Kemp, and Hal Kemp got killed in a car wreck, in about 1938 or 9, something like that. And this fella took over the band. His name is Porky Dankers, and but it didn't go too good. So anyway, Porky owned the library, and while we were at Lincoln, Nebraska, he sent for that library. we tried to read that music, and it was so hard we couldn't read it because it played very difficult music. Hal Kemp did. Just millions of notes. But that's when we was growing up, and of course, saxophone players. Tex Beneke was a well-known player with Glenn Miller, and some of the other Charlie Barnett, saxophone. But I don't suppose that I had any particular favorites, you know. There were a couple of colored saxophone players that I thought were excellent, you know.
And who were they?
They were, one was Ben Webster.
Ben Webster.
Yeah, and another one was Coleman Hawkins.
Coleman Hawkins.
And those, and the other man that played with Duke Ellington's band, Johnny Hodges. He was a good saxophone player. Good for those days. Today, when you'd hear them, you know, they'd sound ricky-ticky compared to what they have, what we've had in the last 20 years. There's saxophone players that they just blow me under the table.
Well, who nowadays do you put in that category?
Oh, I guess that there's a young man that I listen to and have some CDs. His name's Eric Alexander.
Eric Alexander.
And he plays mostly out of New York. And he's very good. And then there's two or three more. But and you can, every now and then I'll be scanning around in YouTube, and you run onto somebody that just you never heard of, and nobody else has,
and they're good.
And they just blow everything in the world. But you know what people like? If I play something for you and it's something that I've written, and you don't know it from Adam, and I might play you a million notes, boy, oh boy, can he play those? And it don't mean nothing to you, but if I play Stardust and play it pretty and nice, and just put nice notes in every now and then there, and you say, oh, I love that. That's what people like to listen to.
Well, it's those memories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And well, not only that, but even people that are musicians. You hear these guys that can just, that's all they've ever done is play, and they can play so many notes and it just make you, well, I never could do, you know, just going up and down the scale, playing this and that and the other. But you sit there and listen to it and say, what's he playing? You know, if he's playing Stardust or String of Pearls or I Can't Get Started, if he's playing those things, and I know the melody, and he's playing things on the side, you know, while you're ad-libbing, and he's playing good, and then you say, hey, that guy can play. I mean, that's good. He's a good player. So you got so many good players, it don't make any difference. Yeah. But you want to play something good, and so I always tried to not just play a bunch of notes. I tried to weave a melody in where people were listening that they could understand the song and say, oh, that's so nice, you know, and they could dance to it, and it was good. And but if you played the other stuff, they'd say, well, I don't know what he's doing. You know, I don't listen to that. So I've always tried to play that way, and so my sons, they wanted to, I want to put you on YouTube, Daddy, or what it is. All right, I said, go ahead, I don't care. And so we get in the back room there, and they get all the stuff ready, and
You're all over YouTube.
I have the CDs from a fellow by the name of Ambersall that he makes CDs for you to practice by,
Oh,
and they're all the old songs,
okay.
and they'll have a piano and bass and everything in there, and you play along. They call it play along.
Okay, well, see, I was listening to you playing Sunny Side of the Street
That's all play
before I
along.
came over, and I thought, well, there's a whole band behind him.
Well, it's 4 pieces, 5 pieces.
Okay. I
But so
wondered
they're
how
just
you did
playing
that.
your background for you.
I see.
But you got to know the songs.
Well, sure
you know.
you do. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
So that's how I practice all the time,
Okay.
in keeping my lip up, because
Yeah.
I'm just 85. You're going to be 85.
Well, you play
But you don't know it.
pretty darn good. You
Anyway,
sure
yeah,
do.
they put me on the YouTube, and my son does all the. He does all the finagling with the.
I understand it's very easy to do, but I haven't ever tried it myself. Putting things on YouTube. So.
You have to. I don't know how he does it. All I do is play the horn.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've had lots of people that listen to me, and
Yeah.
I know, and you know, that's the reason why I was saying they've got guys on there that just blow great for a accomplished musician and play, but nobody writes them and nobody says anything about them, and they won't listen to them. They don't even listen to him. You'll have 10,000 people listening to you. They tell you how many it's been listened, and then it'd be maybe 200 or 300. And say, why in the? I said they won't listen to them because they don't want to hear. And I've had them to write me and say, Mr. Graves, you play the right notes. He says, you don't go up and down all them scales and do all that crazy stuff.
Well, you're making people happy. You're giving them what they want.
Yeah, and I enjoy playing it.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
I enjoy playing good things. I don't like to just,
we'll see. Let's see. How long have you been playing?
well, that's about 19, and I started in the junior high band in 1937.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
But I laid off for 28 years.
Yeah, you did, but you picked it right back up,
Yeah, I
didn't
picked
you?
it right back up.
Okay, well, let me check my notes
It
here.
was very. So, and I enjoy it. And it seems like God blesses me in it, so I say, okay.
Yeah.
The Lord says if you're not condemned in anything, He don't condemn you, then you're all right.
Well, you've had a long, successful career, I would say.
Well,
This.
sometimes you think that, and then sometimes you think I'm good for nothing.
Well, and you've managed to do it at home.
Yes. My friends that were with the big bands, a lot of them have died. My friend that played jazz trumpet with Garber died about 2 months ago.
Oh,
He lived in Las Vegas. And then, of course, I know a lot of them that were in the Army with me that were older than me.
Have you stayed in touch with them then?
Some of them. I call them on the telephone. The piano player, he did one movie for Elvis.
Oh.
He wrote all the music for Elvis.
Oh, wow.
He and I used to do all practicing together so that I'd learn how to play.
And you knew him from your
From Lincoln, Nebraska.
From Lincoln. And what
Yeah.
was his name?
His name was Benny Wiseman,
Okay. Oh,
a Jewish boy,
okay.
and he's very talented, and he got his favorite thing was he got to write that one show for Elvis, that one movie. I forget which one it was, but he still lives in California. Well, he's from New York, and he lives in California now. But I could tell that he had to have somebody to help him. I don't know whether they get that Alzheimer's disease or what.
Mm-hmm.
And then my drummer friend, he lives in Inglewood, California. He played with Johnny Long and Jimmy Dorsey, and he's about 90.
Oh, what's his name?
His name's Kenny Fryer.
Kenny
Farrar, yeah. And he was, and he taught school out in one of the universities out there.
Okay.
He's an excellent arranger. And so they fade away, you know.
I'd sure like to see big band music come back.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the kids.
Yeah.
Some of the kids are interested in that.
They are. Listen, you wouldn't believe the bands in Europe and Hungary.
I know.
They have one big band in Germany called Thilo Wolf. Thilo is his first name, Wolf. Excellent big band. Oh, excellent. Just good. And they have one or two in Hungary. They call one of them the Hungarian Border Band.
Oh my goodness.
And all big bands in fine arrangements. And Paris, France has big bands.
Why
Two or
do
three.
you think that is? That Europe seems
They're
to
so-
appreciate big band music better than
In
than the
South
States
America,
do.
even in South America.
Huh.
And you just wouldn't believe it. But they're so, that's what they like over there.
Yeah.
I get letters from people in Hungary, you know,
Do
and
you really?
email
Uh-huh.
from them and telling me, you know, they enjoy my playing in France. Some of them I can't even read.
Oh my
Well,
goodness.
somebody wrote me and all they said was formidable. It's
I
formidable.
think it's French, but we're not for sure.
Oh yeah, it's a French word. It's French.
Well, I do have a woman working in my office whose husband is French, so if you ever
Yeah.
have, they'd probably love to help you with
Yeah.
with translating
and
this for you.
and for some unknown reason, I get a lot of them from Brazil.
Brazil.
Yeah.
Well,
And they're speaking Portuguese.
oh my
And
goodness.
it's you know, I just I sit there, I might get one word in every now and then, you know.
Yeah. Well, gee
But
whiz.
anyway, their bands over there are just great. And there's a band from Dutch land. What would be the Dutch? Holland.
Yeah.
Holland.
Yeah.
His name is Bilo. Bieleo. Bilo Big Band. Just a great band. And they've got several girl singers that are just,
Well, I just wonder why it is. It
I
has
don't know.
survived and thrived in Europe,
Well,
and it's
you know
just
what
fallen
happened
away
over
here.
you know what happened over here, the rap and rock and roll and the rap and whatever other kind you'd want to call it took over, and that excites the kids. It's lousy music,
It's not
and it just
music.
excites them. You know, they're all throwing their hands up in there. You'd think that they were having a Holy Ghost meeting or something.
Yeah. Well, I always told my husband I was born too late. That I
Well-
really appreciate the music of the 40s.
Oh.
You know, I mean, that was
The
classic
jukeboxes,
music.
that's what we did in Hillsboro. We listened to the jukeboxes. Didn't have enough money to buy a
Glenn
record.
Miller.
We didn't have enough money to buy a record player or a record. It would just, if you had a nickel, you could play that
Uh-huh.
music. We'd go to one of the little local restaurants in
Well, did-
Hillsboro.
Did you have a radio at home?
Oh, yeah, we had a radio.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'd listen. I'd listen. Glenn Miller came on every night at 6:15. And man, I'd usually hear that.
Yeah.
And I have an album of Glenn Miller, a 45 album of Glenn Miller with nearly just a load of those broadcasts on there. And it's songs that you don't hear, you wouldn't hear them anywhere else except on that album.
Do you still have a turntable player so you can play
I
your...
have a turntable, but I don't have it to where I can play. I've got a bunch of old Glenn Miller 78s. and they're all Bluebird, and they're real old.
Bluebird.
Yeah. And I don't have a '78 player
Yeah.
anymore,
Yeah.
but I do play that 45 every now and then,
Mhm.
and they have that radio show on it, which was really keen back in for those days, back in those days,
Yeah.
and.
So where in Hillsboro did you go play the jukebox?
We had a little restaurant there called the Eagle Cafe.
Oh.
Hillsboro was the Eagles, in the Hillsboro High School
Oh,
Eagles.
okay. Where was the Eagle Cafe?
And it was right when you came into town from Waco.
Uh-huh.
You came into town and you went on up through Hillsboro, the Waco Street.
Yeah.
We called it Waco Street.
Right.
It went right on up, and then when you came in, the turn right, it went to Corsicana.
Mm-hmm.
And it was right there on the corner
Oh,
down
it
there.
was. Okay.
And we'd
Okay.
walk. He had a room back there that kids could dance if they wanted to and play the jukebox.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we didn't do any dance. We played jukebox and the marble machine. If we
Okay.
if we could get free times to play,
Yeah.
Anyway, we'd listen to those jukeboxes and whoever had a nickel.
Yeah. And you danced then. You weren't playing then.
No, I was playing then, but
Oh, you were?
I mean, we were in high school.
Yeah. But when you'd go and listen to the jukebox, did you dance?
No, I
you probably
didn't.
didn't get much chance
You
to
didn't.
dance.
You couldn't
because
get
you were
no
always
girls to
playing.
go down there with you.
Oh, you could.
No, their daddy's and mama wouldn't let them out at night.
So where else did you go in Hillsboro?
Well, the other place we went was a place out about 5 miles from Hillsboro, and it was called Harry Clark's, and it had a large swimming pool, and run by Miss Clark and her son, and large spring-fed swimming pool, and then it had a little pavilion in upstairs, and there's a jukebox upstairs and a little dance floor, all open. Well, it was covered all right, but
What direction from Hillsboro?
going toward Dallas.
Oh, huh.
Yeah, we went out there
Okay.
about 5 miles out there, but
Okay.
you had to somebody had to have a car.
Right, to get you out there.
Yeah, and they had a jukebox with all the stuff on it, and then back in those days, whenever we had the football games, Hillsboro played Waco High, and played Bryan,
Mm-hmm.
and they played Corsicana, they played Cleveland, and they played Ennis and Waxahachie. That's how big Hillsboro was then.
Yeah.
And after a lot of the games in Hillsboro, well, we would have a dance, and of course there's a man playing records there.
And the dance was held.
It's right there at the gymnasium,
Okay.
right there at the school,
Uh-huh.
where the teachers were all there,
Uh-huh.
and so we got to hear a lot of music there. And I can't remember. We might have played one time, but I can't remember too much. It was been so long ago with Tommy Bullock and the Sophisticated Swing.
The Sophisticated Swingsters.
Sophisticated Swingsters.
And what was his instrument?
Tommy played tenor sax.
Okay.
I played tenor sax,
Okay.
and boy named was Skinner Wallace played alto, and another boy, Billy Pope, played alto. And all those boys are dead. And Billy Patterson's. You remember Billy Patterson? He was a big passer for Baylor back before World War II.
Oh no, but I bet I could
Bill
look him up
Patterson.
real
Oh
easy.
yeah, you can look him up. He was a
Uh-huh.
star quarterback.
Now, how does he figure in your story?
His brother played trumpet. Harry, and
Oh, okay.
Billy.
And
Billy
did y'all have some drums? Did you have any rhythm?
had drums. That fellow's name was Seaboy Morgan. We called him Seaboy
Seaboy
Morgan.
Okay.
I can't remember his first name.
Uh-huh.
And they had a trombone player by the name of Scott, another trumpet player by the name of Horn, and a piano player by the name of
Wow.
Parker.
That was a big band.
Yeah, well, it was
Yeah.
big for, it was 4 saxes, 2 trumpets, and I think there was 2 trombones. We didn't have a bass fiddle then. We had a fellow that played bass horn.
Yeah. Huh.
And you know, a lot of everything with the polka bands nowadays, they use tuba.
Mm-hmm.
They don't use a bass or anything. They play
Yeah.
a tuba.
Yeah.
And it sounds pretty good.
Yeah. Well, it keeps that beat.
It keeps the beat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
There's one great band on television now. I'm not sure I can remember his name. Jimmy Sachs or whatever it is. Anyway, it comes on the rural program.
Oh yeah, our neighbors get that and they watch it.
He has a excellent band, and
Mm-hmm.
and you'd think to play real good polkas you have to be an excellent musician because they got so many notes.
Uh-huh.
You can just figure things like the clarinet polka.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of notes there, and you got to be a good player.
Why did you make the switch from clarinet to sax?
Well, you have to if you're going to play because nearly all the arrangements have clarinet, and a lot of them have clarinet and flute, and so you have to play clarinet and flute also. I play a little flute.
Really, do you?
Yeah, that's the first thing the Miller Band. You bring your flute. I said, okay. I didn't say I could play very well. He said, bring your flute. But we did play one number with a flute in it, so I was very happy about that.
So how many instruments do you play?
Well, just clarinet and sax. If you play alto sax,
Uh-huh.
which is the smaller sax,
Mm-hmm.
it's the same fingering as a tenor sax. The only thing that's different is the pitch.
Mm-hmm.
You play the note with the same fingers as you would on the tenor, but the pitch is higher
Yeah.
and the tenor would be lower.
Okay.
So if you have, in some of these bands that I play with, they have you switching, you'll be playing tenor and they have you switching to alto. Well, if you didn't bring the alto, you better know how to transpose.
Oh my goodness.
And the clarinet, one of the registers in the clarinet, the high register, is like a tenor saxophone, and the low register is completely different. It's completely different. So clarinet's very hard to play. Benny Goodman and Artie Shaw and those fellas were excellent, and you got to be real good to play that clarinet on good polka bands. It'll work you to death.
Yeah.
You need to be young and don't run out of breath.
Well, I know that. I took clarinet for one summer when I was in junior high, and I just didn't have enough wind for
Right.
it. I just could not
Yeah,
get.
you have to. Horns, especially, well, all horns, I guess, but especially saxophones. You have to, for a saxophone to play good, a certain kind of mouthpiece will play better for you than any other thing. I have, you know, 1, 2, 3. I have 3 tenor saxophones.
Oh my goodness.
And I have 1, 2, 3, and I have 3 alto saxophones.
Oh my goodness.
And I have a load of mouthpieces. But just certain mouthpieces with the horns will play better than another mouthpiece in playing the same horn.
Uh-huh.
And so if you get the right setup on the horn
Yeah.
and everything is if you get the right mouthpiece, that horn will produce for you better than anything else. And I have so many people that email me and want to know my setup.
Oh,
You know.
yeah. Okay.
Well, I don't know. I don't write back normally, but some of them sometimes I do. But if you and they think if they get that mouthpiece that I'm playing, that it's going to sound like that for them. Well, it may and it may not.
Yeah.
It's according to what horn they're playing.
Yeah.
And I play. I have a 1936 con tenor, and I have a 1941, and then a con, and then I have a 1974 Selmer tenor, and I have a LeBlanc clarinet. I've got 4 or 5 clarinets, but I bought them over on eBay, and I ain't pay nothing for them.
Well, yeah. So do you still pick up the flute and play it?
I don't pick it up much anymore. We didn't ever have to. We had to play flute. We had a few. You know, we also had another big band, the Waco Jazz Orchestra.
And that was during
It was
what
sponsored.
time period?
It was in the 80s, and they still have it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't play, but it was in the 80s. Judge Joe Johnson led it, and we were affiliated with Baylor.
Oh,
It was for the further continuation of studies for Baylor.
Oh, okay,
And
sure.
we did all of our practicing out there, and also Baylor furnished us music.
Where did you practice? At Waco Hall?
Waco Hall is where we
Okay.
practiced.
Okay.
And of course we had some Baylor kids playing also with us. But and we played, of course, that band. We played. We didn't charge money. We played down at the summer things down on the river.
Oh, yeah.
We played a lot down there, and then we played at Waco Hall for concerts, and
that's
it
when
was
you-
nice. Yeah,
And that's when y'all play. You would have a flute, occasionally.
yeah. Occasionally, if I
Okay.
had a flute, and then and if things were hard, I could bring home and practice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and which I did, but we didn't have much flute music, and you get older and older, if you got all your teeth, you can play pretty good flute. If you don't have your teeth like me,
Yeah, I bet that does make a difference.
yeah, if you don't have your teeth, see, I had to learn to play all over because I got all them choppers pulled.
Oh,
And,
people never think of that.
I know it, and
But it
they don't
would
know
make
that.
a
They don't know
huge
that I don't have
difference.
that I'm playing with false teeth.
Yeah, that
But
would make
it doesn't
a big
bother me
difference.
at all.
Yeah. Well, you've adjusted.
Yes, I learned to play with
Well, gee whiz.
it just doesn't bother me anymore.
Well, that is
I
so
can just sit down and play for hours. I don't. When I had bad knees, I didn't like to stand up. I couldn't stand up.
Mm-hmm.
One knee was so bad, all the cartilage was gone.
Yeah.
And Dr. Etheridge, and this one was getting bad, and I said, this was last July the 1st, and he said, both of them, he says, if I were you, I'd just go ahead and get both of them done. He said, you're going to have trouble. So I got both of them done.
At the same time.
Yeah, never felt a thing. I never been in a hospital in my life, and I went in there, and that lady gave me the stuff to knock me out. She was talking to me, and that's the last thing I heard when I woke up. I had 2 new knees, and of course you can't do much the first day,
Mm-hmm.
but after about 3 or 4 days, I was going to go to therapy, and I went over there, and I could do everything they asked me
Isn't
to
that
do.
amazing?
Yeah, God he just blessed them knees.
Well, it's just wonderful what they can do
Yeah.
nowadays. It really
And
is.
I told Dr. Etheridge, I said, next to God, you really good on them knees. And and I can. It's so great to walk without pain,
I bet.
and
I bet.
I can walk, ride a bicycle, hit the golf ball.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah, I know.
Well, and I hope you can still keep on making music. 'Cause
Oh well,
I don't know
whatever.
if you remember me, but my husband and I go to Philo Club, and that's where I
yeah,
know you from.
yeah,
Yeah, and Kenny Frazier told me I needed to talk
Yeah.
to you.
yeah.
So,
I don't know whether I've got all the dates
well,
right, but you
as
can
long
see.
as we get
I know the
close.
Casablanca. That was the first of the big bands,
Mm-hmm. Well, and
and
it's got the date right there.
yeah.
on it. Yeah.
and before I ever came to Waco and was still going to high school, the big band that they had in Waco was a band. I think it was from Baylor,
Oh.
and
Okay.
it was called the University of Scots.
Oh. SCOTS.
I guess so, and I never heard it, but I knew of them, and it was I don't think it was big as the band there, but it was maybe 3 saxes and 4 or 5 brass.
And they played jazz or swing music.
Played what people had to play back in those days. They called stock arrangements. That's what you had to buy, was stock arrangements, and they were about 75 cents. And they were arrangements that people up north and east arranged for big bands, and they'd make a copy of those and sell them. And just like they'd make a copy of In the Mood, of Glenn Miller's In the Mood. And they'd make copies of all the parts, and it's called stock arrangement. And any of the other, Artie Shaw's Begin to Begin and stuff like that. That's what we all played, because there wasn't nobody down here that wrote special arrangements. And I just started out on my own writing them for Harold. And
Did you make any money doing that when you were doing your arrangements for Harold Strand?
I just do it for him for free,
Okay.
and just to get to play the good songs.
Yeah.
Because I didn't write nothing but just good tunes.
Yeah.
And I just used my organ. All you have to do is just learn how to transpose and voice it, just voice them.
Yeah.
And so it was really pretty simple, but to be real good, you have to be real good arrangements. They'll sound like Bach. Have the trombones doing one thing and the trumpets doing the other, and sax is doing something else.
And it all blended.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I haven't talked this much in years.
Well, I tell you what, I've sure enjoyed it, Mr. Graves, and I want to thank you for
Oh, you're
allowing me
welcome.
to come and talk to you today. Do you have anything else you'd like to say to wrap it up?
Not that I knows of.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
All right.